Welcome to this video. In a previous video, we have seen how we can create a primary key constraint to a table. In today's video, we would see and understand how we can create foreign key constraint. Foreign key is again a very important concept. Once you establish a primary key, it's always used into different tables to get linked, right? So foreign key actually enforces a link between the data in two tables. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Suppose that here in our previous example we have seen we have created a table student, okay, the, a table named as table student, which has student ID, first name, last name, phone number. Okay, now going forward we would see that how we can create another table as marks. Okay, so it will state that what all subjects are there and what's for that particular subject, what a student, which student has scored what marks. It's quite simple, right? So first let's create that, then we will try to explain the logical combination which we can use. Okay, so let's create table marks. Okay, so subject ID, let me follow the same convention. Subject ID integer. Okay, so for this my table mark, subject ID would be a primary key. Okay, constant primary key. I'll just make it short. Okay, primary key. Okay, so one more thing in meanwhile. So in previously we have seen that we can add the constraint at the last. So I told that because that time it was quite, we are moving into some advanced topics. So I just, to make it simple, I just keep it in that way. But now as we are quite mature to understand the another complex topics or subject, now we can say, now I would say that we can modify the same stuff in the same row where we have creating where we have the definition for that column. So subject ID integers. So previously I would have done this constant at the last, but now here only I can create it. Okay. So primary key now subject name worker 20, and it cannot be null. It and can be duplicate because for one subject can be repeated several times in that row, in that column for different students. Okay, now student ID integer. Okay, so this student ID would get linked with my this student ID. Okay, so I will just say, oh, sorry, I will just rename constraint foreign key student ID. Okay, foreign key, and here we have to mention, or we have to give a reference that which column or which primary key it should link. Okay, so foreign key references table name, so table name would be my, okay, fine, and my column would be this, sorry. Okay, so this I added. Now I will add marks integer, and it should not be null. Okay, so now let's see what exactly we are trying to do. So here you could see that we have a table named as student table, and student ID is the primary key for that table, correct? So if I want to link this student ID, sorry, this student table with the marks table, then I have to link it using this student ID column, which is present in table marks. Okay. So this way we are trying to create a foreign key. Means a primary key of one table would get linked to a foreign key of or another column which would termed as the foreign key for that particular table. Okay. Why? Because student ID for marks table would be the primary key. And in a previous video, we have seen that a single table can have only one primary key. Correct? So this is the statement. Now let me quickly add, sorry, create this table. So it got created. I'll just copy this. Let's type it. Insert into table marks. Okay. Subject ID, subject name, student ID, and marks. Okay. Now let me put few values. So subject one is mathematics. Okay. And student ID is 11 and marks given is 98. Okay. Now another subject 102, which is English. Okay. For the same student, he scored 80. Okay. Now another subject, another subject. Okay. Sorry. Another subject. And for the same student, he scored 90. Okay. Correct. So this way, if I just click on this, it will set rows affected. Now let's see. Select all from table marks. Now I click on this. Okay. So now you could see that for student 11, 11 rather, student ID, we have 101, 102, 103 subjects with their respective marks. With this, we can understand how we can create a foreign key. But very important step or very important concept for foreign key is that it enforces referential integrity for that particular table. So what do we mean by referential integrity? In a very layman term, it will maintain the integrity of the table or the data. How? Let's see. Now, suppose that this database is created by someone and you are trying to modify it, or someone else modifying it. Okay. It always ensures that if a particular column or particular key is linked with any of the tables, it should not be deleted or it should not be impacted in some other way. Because if, for example, if I delete 1 from the student, so if I don't have the reference for this 1 for Rakesh Sharma, then for him this marks 98, 90 for the subjects will be like invalid. It will be of no use, correct? It will lose the integrity of the data. To maintain that, referential integrity enforces automatically once you key in foreign key constraint to that particular table or for that particular database. Now let's see the same thing in action. Okay, so let's delete from student. So for example, let's delete student ID, student where student ID equals to 11. So I'm stating that from the student table, delete student ID 11. So if I delete everything on the entire database will get messed up, right? But as we have enforced foreign key, it will try to maintain the integrity of the data and it will not allow. Let's see what's the error it will give. Select on this, execute, see. It's stating that the delete statement conflicts with the reference constraint foreign key ID. The conflict occurs in database, tutorial, whatever, and this marks and student ID. Correct? Now see why 11 is not allowed to delete, because 11 is being used in table marks table as a reference. It's already been used. But now let's check one thing. If I select everything, okay, so you could see that 12 or 22 is not been referred in our marks table. Now let's see whether we can delete that or not. Okay, let's delete 12. Okay, so 12 is not linked, or it's not present or referenced in table marks. So ideally it should delete, because deleting 12 doesn't create any problem. Correct? You could see that one row is affected. Now if I come and select once again, you could say that only 1 1 and 2 2 is present. So this foreign key is the very important stuff. Once you key in, it will automatically enforce, or it will try to maintain the integrity of the data. So this feature comes automatically once you create or add a foreign key constraint. But there are methods which you can bypass again, just inbuilt or default feature, which we can look in future. Okay. But right now, to understand the foreign key constraint, it's very important to understand that once you create the foreign key constraint, it will maintain the referential integrity or the integrity of the data in that database automatically. Thank you for watching this video.